I'm Alec Carpenter from Iris, and I'm going to take everyone through a brief walkthrough of the RPZ-10 system here. We'll start with simply just starting the robot. Right now we have a recipe loaded up, we have no alarms active on the system, and we have our cycle start button available. When you press this, it'll give us the option to choose whether we start on the left or the right-hand pallet. Right now we have left grade out because we have it disabled, and we'll go and we'll choose our right side. Next we have our starting layer and box, where we're going to fill out the box and layer that we want to start with. Now, this is always going to be indicative of the next box that we want to place. So for example, if we're on layer 2 and there are 5 boxes already on that layer, we'll choose a starting layer of 2 and a starting box of 6 because it's the next box after 5. Right now with a fresh palette, we'll choose a starting layer of 1 and a starting box of 1. As I press start here, the robot is going to take off and it's going to start picking. The system is equipped with a safety scanner on the front that monitors the 2 sides to make sure nobody enters the cell. If I come and I walk in, the robot will enter what we call a safeguard stop. In order to reset from this, we need to ensure that everything is clear, and we can go and press the flashing blue button on the front of the kiosk, and the robot will begin its motion again. The same applies for if we have a slip sheet door present with an RFID sensor on it. As soon as the sensor is broken, the robot will enter a safeguard stop, and all we need to do is close the door, make sure that the sensor is met, clear the safety scanner, and we're able to restart the robot. Next, we're going to demonstrate a protective stop, which is going to happen anytime that the robot feels a collision. This typically will happen if boxes are slightly out of alignment and the robot hits a box to box. And right now I'm just going to have Brittany simulate the robot making contact with somebody. So here, the robot has ceased motion, and we have a notification on the screen that the robot is protective stopped. You can go and reset the robot here. You are also able to reset it from the teach pendant by pressing the enable button on the pop-up that comes up there. And anytime there is an active alarm on this system, this alarms button on the top will be visible. You can press that to shortcut directly to the alarm screen. Alternately, we're able to get there by pressing maintenance. It'll pull up all of the tabs on the bottom, and we can go to alarms from there. Once we acknowledge the alarm, as long as there are no other faults active on the system, we'll now be able to recover the robot, as our recover button becomes available on the screen. If you press recover, the robot's going to move back to its home position. As soon as it reaches that spot, we're going to be ready to cycle start again. Now, upon the completion of a pallet, standard procedure is to remove the finished pallet. The robot will run in reduced mode until the safety zone is clear, and then we can slide in a new one. When we push in a new pallet after completing the previous one, we will want to slide the pallet as far in as it can go up to the backstop, as well as close to the robot as possible. So on our left-hand side, we'll go as far back and as far to the right as we can, and on the right side, it'll be as far to the left and as far back as we can. Once the pallet is entered and is registered correctly on the photo eye, the Confirm Empty Pallet button will appear on the screen. Once we press that, we now have made both pallets available, and I have the option to cycle start on either the left or right-hand side. If a pallet is taken out prematurely, or we need to go in and remove any defective boxes, anything that didn't tape correctly, there's also the opportunity from the status screen to manually enable and disable the pallets. I can disable the left side if, for example, I want to run only one more pallet on this recipe and we're building the right side. You can disable the left, and then the robot will not automatically switch over to the left side after it finishes, and it will return home and cycle stop. I can manually enable from here and also choose the layer that we want to start on. If we have 3 layers already on there and we want to start with box 1 on the 4th layer, we can choose to enable the pallet on layer 4. A couple of other shortcut options here are to mark the pallet as empty or mark the pallet as complete. When marking as complete, we now can remove the pallet, enter a new one, and you will be prompted with your Confirm Empty Pallet instead of having to navigate back to the screen again. A few other options available for maintenance would just be the overall speed of the robot and adjusting the height of the pallet. These, depending on requests of the customer, may be locked out only to a maintenance level user or someone from the automation team, but are useful for changing the speed for certain recipes. If higher rate isn't required, it decreases the chances that we'll protect the stop or drop any boxes. That about covers normal operation for the RPZ-10. Thank you.